My wife cheated, and it went horribly wrong for her. We had just moved to a big city to start new jobs, and life was generally pretty good. We were in love, had regular lovemaking, and rarely argued. But everything changed when my wife met Jane at work. Jane worked directly with my wife and was the person she had the most contact with at work. They quickly became friends, and initially I was happy she found someone she got along with so quickly and could go out for drinks with. But then it started to go downhill. Jane began trying to convince my wife that I was holding her back, that monogamy was outdated for women with jobs, and that she should be hooking up with men who were more conventionally attractive than me. I didn't know all this was going on until after. Jane would always go on about my height, I'm 5 feet 8 inches, and how I'm not traditionally masculine. I saw texts between them later, where Jane described the feeling of being with a more masculine man and how it's something every woman should experience, asking my wife about me and how dominant I am. Granted, I am not the most dominant guy in the bedroom, but I would have been happy to discuss this with my wife if she had brought it up. This went on for months, with Jane trying to convince my wife that I wasn't good enough for her. Jane had learned from my wife about things I supposedly did wrong, like not being able to fix her car and having to call someone, which made her late for an important meeting. I'm not a mechanic, but apparently, men are supposed to know how to fix cars. Jane sent my wife content and podcasts about relationships and women's needs. Eventually, my wife started reciprocating Jane's views. Jane then began calling me horrible names related to my height, and my wife went along with it. Jane introduced my wife to a guy, a traditionally masculine man, who was tall and muscular, supposedly better than me. My wife started talking with him, which began as platonic but soon progressed to flirting and eventually detailed lovemaking texts. They arranged to hook up, but things began to unravel when my wife, in her stupidity, booked a hotel using our joint card. I asked her about it, and she claimed it was for work, saying the company had drinks there and people booked rooms for the night. I could tell she was lying. Given everything Jane had been saying, I suspect she thought I wouldn't question it. I became suspicious, and a few days later, went through her phone while she was asleep, connecting WhatsApp to my computer for a thorough look without her knowing. I discovered all the incriminating messages. I didn't know what to do at this point, but when the hotel stay came around, I decided I had to confront her. She wasn't even apologetic. In fact, she said it was what she had needed for years and might actually help our marriage. I told her that if she walked out that door, we were done, and she left, saying she didn't care because she was excited about what was waiting for her. I didn't see my wife for the next 3 days, resisting the urge to call her or beg her to come home, trying to move on. Then I got a call from her company's HR department, asking me to come in for a meeting. When I arrived, I sat down with 2 HR staff and a manager who explained that I was there as part of an ongoing investigation. I had been mentioned in work communications, resulting in a huge fight between 2 employees. They eventually revealed that the fight was between my wife and Jane. Jane had catfished my wife, pretending to be the man she was cheating with. When my wife discovered this, there was a massive confrontation at work. My wife lost both her job and me due to Jane's deceit. She did get back in touch afterward, but it went as you might expect. I may provide an update if there's interest.